Okay, we're on 7:04, and I would like to start the meeting. So hopefully everyone can hear me. And thank you for joining. And as always, just a preamble on the meeting during this COVID-19 emergency. I have to read the statement out. So good evening. As chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, I'm declaring that an emergency exists, and I'm invoking the provisions of RSA 91-A to 3B. Federal, state, and local officials have determined that gatherings of 10 or more people pose a substantial risk to our community in its continuing efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19. In concurring with this determination, I'm also find that this meeting is imperative to the continued operation of the town government and services, which are vital to public safety and confidence during this emergency. As such, this meeting will be conducted without quorum of this body physically present in the same location. At this time, I also welcome members of the public accessing this meeting remotely. Even though this meeting is being conducted in a unique manner under unusual circumstances, the usual rules of conduct and decorum apply. So we'll start the meeting by taking a roll call of attendance. And so with each member of the committee, please state your name and also state whether there is anyone else in the room with you during the meeting. So I'll kick off. I'm Chetna Palmer, chair of the Sustainability Advisory Committee, and I am alone in the room. Bev, do you want to go next?
Christopher. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bev.
Beverly Chapman at Riverwoods, and I'm alone in my room.
Chris?
Yes, Christopher Zygmunt, and I am alone here.
Kristen?
Kristen Osterwood, and I am not alone. I've got children and a husband.
Dave Sharples?
Dave Sharples, town planner, and I am in the basement by myself.
Nina?
Braun, and I am alone for right now.
We seem to have lost Nico.
Somebody's coming home.
Nico?
Looks like he's just now there. None.
Nico, can you hear us?
You got you're muted.
Rachel, would you like to introduce yourself since we can see you?
Sure. Hi, my name is Rachel Nadolny. Currently, I'm finishing up my master's in sustainability science at UMass Amherst. And for the summer, I am one of the UNH fellows. So I will be doing a greenhouse gas inventory for the town of Exeter.
And are you alone in the room?
Yes, I am alone.
Okay, thank you. But we still can't hear Nico. So. Nico, can you give us a thumbs up whether you're alone or not?
I don't think Nico can hear you.
No. Okay. I think we should just press on, and hopefully he'll work out the technological issues. Okay, he's dropped off. Okay, so welcome to the meeting on the 2nd of June, 2020, and we'll go on to agenda item number 2 for the approval of the minutes from last month. Did anyone have any comments, any issues, any amendments to make to what was presented? everyone okay with as they were?
I was okay with it.
Can I have a first
To accept.
call to motion? Accept. Anyone second? Everyone?
I'll second.
All right. So we'll approve those minutes of 5th of May 2020. Thank you, everyone. And one of the action items from that meeting was the sustainability advocacy group wanted us to sort of officially approve the job description that we all worked on last year for the sustainability coordinator position, following the unanimous voting by Exeter residents on the article in the elections in March 2019. So they were attached to the agenda items, and I just want to hear from anyone who's got any comments about that. And if so, please go ahead.
Madam Chair. It looks as I thought I'd seen it before.
You're breaking up.
The comment would be that button. It seems it should I find anything that was great. Yeah, no comment. It looks as it should be.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments? Or we can move to take a vote on approving them, as we agreed on doing that last minute at the last meeting.
Move to approve.
Okay, that's Bev.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Nina. Kristen, are you voting? Yes. Chris?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And I also am a yes. So we can say we've approved those, the job description as required for the systemic coordinator. Okay. The update on, obviously we have Rachel, so maybe Dave Sharples can kick us off on that first in terms of updates for the sustainability. So over to you, Dave.
Thank you. I just want to, as you all know, we're doing a greenhouse gas emissions inventory through the UNH Sustainability Institute. And Rachel is, I mean, I just see her video turn up, and I'm sure she'll come back on once we're to that point. But I wanted to, introduce her this evening. There she is. Been very impressed. We started, well, let me just tell you this. We did orientation with the group, with the fellows and UNH last week. It went very well. Got to know all the fellows and leading the project at UNH. And we officially started yesterday. Rachel came, didn't come. UNH's requirement that it's 100% virtual. So I did FaceTime her yesterday morning and gave her a tour and had her meet everyone in the office. But hopefully, sometime soon, she'll be, actually be allowed to physically come into the office. But UNH right now is 100% virtual. Been in the short amount of time, been very impressed with Rachel, very, bright young lady. I think we're, lucky to have her on this project. And I just wanted to give her the opportunity. I asked her to participate tonight, to come to just introduce herself, and maybe she can, tell a little bit more about herself and the project where we're at now, because we did make some decisions today and have already kind of hit the ground running in the first couple of days. But I'll pass it off to Rachel and she can introduce herself.
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me with the headphones? Okay. So yeah, like I said earlier, I'll be doing the greenhouse gas inventory. and we started yesterday, and one of the decisions we had to make was what kind of tool we want to use to do the inventory. So we chose to do the EPA greenhouse gas tool, which is the free tool, so that's good. And yeah, I think the next steps are just determining what data we need for the inventory, and then we'll go from there. And I'm excited to hear like what you guys have to say about sustainability and just see what you guys are doing.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Success. 3 times the charm. Good evening, everyone. Excuse my tardiness.
Good evening.
We tried a couple different systems, but here we go.
Okay.
Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, Chris here. Just welcome to Rachel, and look forward to collaborating on our projects, and looking forward to the greenhouse gas emissions inventory. Appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, and to second that, Rachel, hello again, and welcome. And I am working with another fellow on a greenhouse gas inventory for Unitil. So if any I think you guys are probably communicating through UNH channels, but if there's anything I can help with or connect with on that, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
So Rachel, are you, is it 5 days a week, or is there flexibility in terms of your time?
I mean, me and Dave haven't really spoken about that, but I would say it's mostly just like during the week, but definitely some flexibility, I would say.
Yeah, the total requirement is, I think 10 weeks of full time for over the summer. So there is some built in, a couple weeks here and there that can be, worked out just to get the project done. But there is some flexibility built.
All right. Any other updates, Dave?
Not at the moment. I think, the biggest one has to do with the agenda item with Julie and I. So that is what we've been working on, and we'll present that and, when we get to that item.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome, Rachel, and thank you for joining us. You're welcome to stay on for the rest of the meeting, or sign off. Entirely up to you. Thank you. I'm sure we'll be in touch as you progress. Thank you again. So the other item was to do with communications and the social media plan. So it was put on the agenda by Chris. So hopefully Chris can take that over.
Yep. I'll do my best. All of a sudden, I don't know. You guys, let me know if you guys can continue to hear me or not. I know I've had some connectivity. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
Great. My suggestion was this: that we had a lot of discussion the last few meetings about the challenges that we're faced with, as are everyone, with working with the municipal website and just the channels we need to go through for proper communication. My suggestion was simply that maybe one of the better ways, it's always better to, I think we got to crawl before we walk and walk before we run, and maybe to start off with a very simplified agenda of working with the town to put up one Facebook post from the SAC per week. And if we build ourselves a simple comms plan for that, where it means we're writing that post 5 to 6 days in advance, we're approving it through Nina and Chetna, and then forwarding that along to Dave or whoever Dave has designated for posting, getting an approval and getting that posted. And while it won't have the spontaneity of social media, what it will allow us to do is to begin to communicate to people who follow the town Facebook page, and being to understand some of the work that we're doing and some of the things we want to comment on moving forward, some of our agenda items, some of the things that from the long list of items that Dave's tackling, even things like the fellowship and things like that. So I'd like to see us come up with, a forward-looking 60 to 90-day outline of that, and we can refine that as we get closer and closer to those weeks. But to come up with, an outline of what those weekly or a 10-day posts or just a regular cadence people get comfortable with looking to the Facebook page for our information. I'll put that out there.
Thank you, Chris. I
have a quick question.
Yeah, go on, Nina.
I think it's a great idea. I'm just curious as to what is the main Facebook page from the town. I know that it's been mentioned before that there were several pages, so I just wanted to know exactly which page we would be posting to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's for us to make the request, and that's a great question. I guess I don't know how many we have. Dave, how many individual pages can operate?
That I don't know how many pages we have. I know we have some. I'd have to talk to Bob Glowacki about that and have a conversation. I'll hear what you're saying, and then I've already wrote that, to talk with Bob Glowacki about that. So I can find that out.
Great.
Because I think I've seen a lot more activity.
What comments did people have about just?
I think I've seen more activity on Facebook with Exeter TV specifically, and I'm not aware of. I haven't seen any other sort of in my feeds of any other Exeter Facebook pages coming through. So if there is an official Facebook page for the town, I don't know.
There is an official Facebook page for the town. The police department has a Facebook page. The fire department has a Facebook page. DPW has a Facebook page. The Parks and Recreation Department have utilized social media. Interestingly, one of the things that we've been talking with the town manager is sometimes less is more. And we've found in the past that with certain projects, maybe too much media on social media has done more damage than it's done good. Again, that depends on the project. I think for the DPW, they utilize theirs not so much as an advertisement, but more so to let people know about trash pickup if there's anything unordinary there, if there's a water break or something, a street closing for something like that. Police obviously use theirs for emergencies if there's somebody that's missing or anything like that. And same with fire. Now, Dave, I'm not sure. I know Concom uses the website quite a bit, but I don't know if they have a Facebook page or not. Do you know that?
I believe so, and I believe that Kristen manages it for the Conservation Commission.
Sure. So we could touch back with Bob and also the town manager and find out if there's a page already that we could utilize, to post things, or we can sort of just see what other suggestions to meet Chris's suggestion of posting something. I don't know if you want to do once a week, once a month, twice a month. Again, sometimes less can be more. If you've got a message that you want to send me, that's great. But that's up for discussion, amongst yourselves.
I think when we sort of set up a page, an unofficial page,
Mm-hmm.
The environmental sustainability news page, and we were just putting out information on there in terms of when the meeting was, and nothing controversial. No, if people don't comment on that, it was just there as a resource, tips and so on. Nina posted some stuff, and of any events that were happening outside of to do with sustainability, we posted on that. And then there is another community-based Facebook page, Seacoast Goes Green, which again, posted to say, meetings coming up. This is at this time. If people wanted to come in, when we had them at the town hall, wanted to come along and join in. So we use that page. Obviously, it's not an official page, but it was there, and it's still there. And we've had, people have joined, have become members or whatever you want to call it, and it appears in their feed when something is posted. So that is just an information landing point at the moment. So I don't know if there is if that will be seen as not a useful place to put information from the advisory committee or tips and things, since it's there already, or I don't know.
I think to the contrary. I belong to both pages. I like both pages, and I thought that when you created the force that you talked about, I know Nina was contributing some stuff. I think that's a great venue to post not only, whatever you're advocating for sustainability for the folks that are in Exeter and surrounding areas, but obviously you can post, the meetings that are coming up if people want to tune into the meetings, let people know that the minutes are available when the minutes are available. And you have a little bit more, you have the potential to do more than if you had an official Town of Exeter page that has to be administered by a town employee that may or may not have time to do it within the time frame that you want it done. So I would encourage you, not to say that you can't look into doing something on an official town page, but I would urge you to continue using those two pages, because again, I see them every day. I think they're great. Okay,
well, I think for me, I think that's great to utilize that, and hopefully Nina agrees, and Chris, in terms of keep reaching out as a way of raising awareness and reaching out to the people. We continue posting and probably make it more regularly, as opposed to, I know it's been ad hoc at the moment over the past few weeks, but make it more of a regular thing that we are continuously posting information up there.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I definitely haven't posted much in several weeks, and happy to post anything up there. If anybody has anything that they want to post or ideas or whatever. I think right now myself, Chetna, and Chris are all admins on it. So if you want to send anything to any of us. But yeah, happy to utilize that page more. And then start posting, I guess we weren't sure as to whether we, would be using it to post upcoming meetings and minutes and so forth. That absolutely makes sense. And if it's I guess, if that's okay, and then that we continue to utilize it, and continue to try to get more people aware of that it's available. Because right now I think we have, very limited followers. I think it's 40 or so, if that. But yeah, I'm happy to do that. And then working, as we talked about last time, with Dave to really just, again, help him with updates that we might want on the website. And so keeping that, obviously, through the town means and the channels that need to get those posted. Increasing that communication would be great.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges that you pointed out is just we have to increase followers, so we need to make an effort to drive followers through outreach. And then I would also say that if every time we do any sort of town website update for our page on the website, we should be also posting that on the Sustainability News Facebook page and back and forth. And yeah, I think we need to come up with at least some sort of schedule to keep the Facebook page updated then, and just work on a simple content plan for that. Just because I think people like to learn. I do hear that people wonder what we're up to, and I think the challenge we keep having is how do we tell them? So,
right,
yeah, and I think it will be a very good platform if we made a regular posting, because there's a lot of information out there, and resources and tips that can be posted on there, and whenever something goes onto the town website, we can put the link on there to say, go check this out, and other events as well, which are happening in the area. And I think it would be very useful to keep plugging in on that, for sure.
Yeah, if anybody on the... I'm sorry, Bev.
That's all right. I have a strong feeling about this. You may think this is totally impractical, but I have tried to think of some way in which we could coordinate the related groups in town who are all working on various aspects of sustainability, and publicize, because nobody knows what's going on, publicize what is happening in all of those. Now, there's the River Committee, there's the Conservation Committee, there's the Energy Committee, there's the Swayze Park Group. Even town groups like Riverwoods. Riverwoods has the only certified green landscape program in the state, maybe even in the country, I don't know. But anyway, that's something that would be well to publicize and how they do it. But is this too much to consider a publicity center for all that's going on in town in the way of conservation? I mean, the way of sustainability.
I think that content is that's great, and all these ideas are great. The issue comes in when it's supplying the content, right? So the admins of the Facebook page don't always know what, for instance, Riverwoods, like that's amazing. So if anybody on the committee or anybody could send information along, even if it's just a link or a little blurb or anything, and then give it to Chetna, Chris, or I, and we'd be happy to start posting more. And I just want to also say that there was, prior to all this pandemic situation and the lockdown, there was conversations of having the chairs of each committee to meet on a sort of a regular basis and just have a conversation on exactly what each committee is doing, so that everyone is aware of what's going on, and then share it to their own committees as well. So that was I know that was a conversation that was being had prior to the lockdown.
Yeah, I think that would be, even if we can set up at least just one Zoom call with those chairs, and just to open up that channel, an opportunity to say, hey, we're willing to put your content on the Sustainability News page. Can we make a plan to have them, whatever the cadence is, if it's just every 2 weeks, forward us, forward one of the three of us your content, any news items that you have or things like that, because we just have to open up those channels and to begin to get that flow of information coming.
I think that would be terrific.
So what I'll do is I'll reach out to the chairs of the different committees, and then hopefully we can connect way before the next meeting.
And Nina, if we could set up a hard deadline day, and even if we start off with a simple cadence of every 2 weeks, and set up a hard deadline day, and then with the 3 administrators, just to make a plan to get the stuff posted, and just kind of keep it simple first. Let's not get too carried away with and too ambitious, but if we can issue a deadline day for those other chairs, those other committee chairs, and for ourselves to make sure we have something to go up every 14 days or something, would be a good start.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question? So are you looking for the other committees to provide information every 2 weeks? Did I understand that correctly?
If they have.
That might be too much.
Because most of the committees that you mentioned meet once a month, and I know like the River Advisory Committee has decided not to meet again until September, unless there's something pressing. So I don't know if that's a little too ambitious. I just don't know what information they'd have every 2 weeks if they meet once a month. So that's why I'm just trying to get a better grasp on that.
I think if we have an internal goal of whether as admins or we're up on it and, okay, we're going to post something, and then getting that information from the other committees so we have it sort of in our bucket of content to pull from. I think making a requirement of other committees to commit to providing content every 2 weeks would probably be unrealistic. And I think
right.
it's just for us. Yeah, for internally, I think it's a good goal.
Yeah, and I also because don't forget their meetings are spread across the month and across the week as well. So. Yeah, I agree. As we just get the bucket of information, we can post those things so we continue to have fresh stuff. Yeah, it's just we'll take their once a month meeting information. That'd be great.
And just so they know about, because I think right now, probably nobody knows that we created this and that it is an avenue for them to get out information to the community as well.
Yeah, and just getting
I think it would be great.
And then them sharing it as well.
I had a question. Do you have a list of committees chairs like that you want to reach out to, or is it? I'm just wondering. There's some quasi judicial committees, there's regulatory. Do we have a list of who we want to connect with?
I think it was, I can't remember I think it was just like mainly the conservation, the river committee, and, the ones dealing with sort of environmental sustainability issues.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Energy committee and so on, just to see what was happening, whether there were, what projects they were doing, and just to keep that sort of information flow going.
Well, I think the other good thing too is, Kristen was just appointed as an alternate to the Conservation Commission, so she'll obviously serve as a very good liaison between this committee and the Conservation Commission. I'm the select board rep to the River Advisory Committee, so that's an obvious liaison there. The Energy Committee, maybe we could work something out with them to try to cross-pollinate. Or Dave,
I attend. Yeah, I unfortunately had a conflict at the last one, but I will. I'll regularly attend as long as I'm available.
Okay. So maybe just hearing sort of updates from the meetings that you guys attend. At these meetings.
That might be a good start. And I mean,
would be useful.
And procedurally, Madam Chair, too, is what I was going to suggest later on in the meeting, but this is actually a decent segue. Moving forward for the Sustainability Advisory Committee, much like some of the other advisory committees already do, at the end of your meetings, before you adjourn, you may want to try to, as a committee, come up with agenda items that you number one want to discuss at the next meeting, and also some points that you are hoping that Dave can kind of either work on or research for the next meeting, so that when you're setting your agenda, you could set it a couple weeks in advance with Dave based on the suggestions that the committee has made at the close of the previous meeting. Most of the other committees work that way. They have the chair work with the town staff member that's the liaison. For instance, I work with the town manager for the select board agenda. The conservation chair sits with Kristen Murphy to go over the agenda. And it's based on the agenda items that you as a committee decided that you wanted to talk about at the close of the last committee. And then Dave then has something to work on for the next 30 days. So, that's also a suggestion, so that when you go to the next meeting, you could, as part of your agenda, have Kristen give a quick update on Concom, Dave on energy, I could do river advisory, and so forth and so on. It's just a suggestion for you.
I think that'd be useful for sure. Thank you, Nico. We can enact that at the end of this meeting. Thank you. Is there anything else, Chris? In terms of communication?
No, I've taken some notes, and I'll. No, I think we got stuff to work with. That's great.
Okay. All right. So the next we got the coastal program update from Julie and Dave. So I'll hand over to you guys.
Thank you. Julie will be joining us in just a minute. I just over briefly.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I just briefly want to go over what I sent you today via email. I mean, we just got it. I got it on Friday. We put this together. Sorry for the late, today, but we had a chance to review it. I took a couple of days to review it. Julie and I talked. We finalized a draft. There's 2 documents that you received that Julie will provide more detail on. But one, it's kind of the, past, present, future, the past and the present of what we've been working on and sustainable initiatives for the town. It kind of dovetails in with one of the requirements of the job description to promote what the town has done and get that information out there, but this is draft form, and we're looking for input from you folks at some point. One of them's the Town of Exeter completed actions to ensure a sustainable future. That's kind of the past and what we're working on now. The second document, and there's several, I don't know, just shy of about 50 items that I think the town should be proud of, is, to move toward a more sustainable future. I think a couple of them are, several of them are pretty substantial projects. The other one, the second one, is kind of the future. It's the needs assessment, and it identifies, we created this list of probably about the same, maybe 50. I haven't counted them. They're not numbered, but about 50 action items that could be taken by town staff, committee, sustainability office, et cetera. And one of the goals today is with this is, you've kind of developed a little bit of what you're working on and prioritizing for the next meeting and the website and so forth, all great information. We were hopeful at the end, maybe you could, over the next, before the next meeting, take this needs assessment, take a look at it, maybe, come up with some priorities. I'll let Julie explain more. I'm just giving kind of the thumbnail to see what your priorities are, and then that will help Julie and I to work in concert and forward with your priorities. So with that, I think that sums it up. Julie, tell me if I'm mistaken, but I'll pass it off there.
No, you're good.
Get a little detail.
Thanks. So you have 2 documents that were forwarded to you today, and what we'd like in between like now and the next meeting, I think in would be July, I guess, right? Because we're June 2nd. Is for you to review the documents. The first document is the situation assessment, which basically is a history of what the town has actually accomplished over the years with respect to climate change and sustainability and resilience and all those things. And the second document is the needs assessment, which actually was called the gap analysis, I think, in the original work plan for the Sustainability Advisory Committee. And and kind of lays out sort of options and strategies and actions that the town in general, including the Sustainability Advisory Committee and the Sustainability Officer. Dave, is that your title, Sustainability Officer?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's town planner / sustainability officer. Yes.
Officer, right, can actually work on in the coming years. And so I'd like you to take a look at both documents, and I'd like to try and put them on a forum, Dave. I don't know if the town has a file sharing system set up at all, like Box or something like that, or I do. I actually have that capability. You're muted, Dave.
You want to put them on the screen right now? Is that what you're asking?
No.
Oh.
Be able to provide them on a platform where the committee can actually edit the documents and make comments on them kind of live.
Google Drive? We could do Google Drive.
A lot of people, some people don't have access to that. I typically use Box because it's a little bit more friendly to people who are using systems that might have some sort of controls on them. I have that capability to create a Box folder where I would email and allow everyone on the committee to actually access the document. You can actually go in and edit. You can edit and do track changes and make edits and things if you want to. So I guess I'll work with Dave to kind of figure out how that would work like in the next couple of days. So you can actually go in and make edits if you want to. So moving ahead, I know we're a little bit behind. Everyone's sort of catching up and catching their breath from this whole COVID-19 like new reality of how we work. I think the next ask of the Sustainability Advisory Committee is to go through the needs assessment / gap analysis document and select, and they're all numbered. They all have numbers or letters next to them, so you can actually sort of earmark each one. And they're divided by things like in different buckets. They're divided by like land conservation and community engagement, regulatory actions, municipal actions. So you can kind of look at each one of the categories that we've divided them into. And for this committee to kind of select, what are your top priorities? Pick, I don't know, I'm just kind of throwing a number out there. Pick 10, pick 15 things that you think are high priority action items that this committee might want to work on. And doesn't even have to be that many. It could be less than 10. And then really focus on maybe 3 or 4 of those activities and for us to develop a work plan around. For this year, this grant goes through March of 2021. So we have a good, 9 months or so, actually 10 months to actually work on creating, work plans around some of these action items. And actually, one of the things that came out strongly the first time I ever met with this committee was the idea, and I think Chris Sigmont, you have great ideas to actually, get social media more organized and do some more engagement and outreach to the community. That outreach to the community is one of the things that you've really wanted to tackle. So I guess I would urge you to maybe put that high on your list of things we could actually work on. And let's see, I was taking some notes because I've been on the call the whole time. Actually, I was cooking dinner, but I was listening to you about your communication outlets and how you want to organize things. And at the RPC, Rockingham Planning Commission, which is just 2 blocks down from Town Hall, we have developed a communication strategy within our office too. And I think it's been really helpful for us to be more streamlined and more automated and have things be less clunky as far as, how we receive information and how we distribute information. And what we've done basically is set, some very firm deadlines. I think, Chris, you were talking about every couple of weeks getting updates from different committees and commissions and, land use boards and stuff. I don't think there's any harm in setting a deadline like every week, like saying, so every Friday, by 4 p.m. you have to submit something if you want to have it posted, either on next Monday, or you could set it whatever day you want to have it during the week that fits your needs. And we created like a form basically within our office saying if you want to post something and we want to have it in our newsletter or on our Facebook page or on our Twitter feed, We have different areas in the form that you can fill out, because Twitter is obviously character limited. Facebook is a little bit clunky and a little bit limited that way. And our newsletter is a little bit broader because you can actually have pictures and a whole paragraph of text and stuff. So you just fill out the part of the form that you want to, you post your information. Some of the things are time sensitive. So they need to go out, usually before the next newsletter comes out in a month, for example. So you want to, push it out onto Facebook or Twitter quickly. And so it's a great way to just throw that form out and create an email group of all the people that you want to reach, like all the different commissions and committees and everything. And just say just send out a reminder. If your deadline day is on Wednesday, send out the reminder on Monday saying, don't forget, if you have anything to submit that we want to post, push it out and get it to us, send the form in. And that way you're just cutting and pasting and reposting information with photographs or whatever. So it becomes a really efficient sort of machine for communication. So I guess I would just urge the committee to strongly consider that sort of system to do your posting and to get communications out. It ends up being very automated, very fast, and there's no obligation for any committee to actually. I think it was, who was it? Nico, you had mentioned you were on the River Advisory Committee, which I haven't gone to in quite some time. But if a committee doesn't have any news, they don't submit anything. It's just sort of here's the reminder. If you want to put something out, give it to us, and we'll push it out onto our social media. So it's just sort of organic in the way that when someone has something to talk about and say or promote, then they communicate with you and you get it out on your channels. So sorry, that was kind of a long and involved explanation, but it becomes a very automated and very easy, fluid kind of system where people contribute when they have something to say. So that's kind of where Dave and I are at right now. And I think that when we actually developed the proposal and were awarded the grant, we have to kind of think a little creatively how we're going to do this, because it's not so much a work plan for a sustainability office, because that office doesn't exist. We have an officer in Dave, and we have the committee, you. And so we kind of need to kind of meld the two together. Dave's work plan with what the advisory committee wants to work on in the next year or two. You could do that as a work plan, like a 2-year work plan, and kind of meld the two, these two things together. Because Dave has bandwidth to work on things, and he's been doing a great job of coordinating. And the advisory committee definitely has some buckets that they want to work on. I know we've heard that in the past. We've had conversations about what you want to work on. I don't know if you're still considering a film event, maybe an online film event in the future, in the fall, that actually could happen, where people could log in online and not be, actually physically in a place. So trying to just meld those two things together into a work plan that makes sense for the next couple of years, and set some priorities as to what this committee wants to do and what Dave is doing. I think one of the things on the gap analysis or needs assessment is actually doing the greenhouse gas emissions inventory, which, check the box off, boom, done. So we already have a win in that category. So I'm going to stop and just kind of pause and let you guys talk to me, and and let's have a conversation about where you want to head.
May I just before we get into the conversation, I just want to add just a couple things. First, this is a draft of tasks. It is not an exhaustive list. So that's why we gave it to you in draft form. If you feel as though, hey, I got A, B, and C that's not on here that we want to work on, by all means, that's why we're giving it to you to absorb prior to this meeting, look at it, see, if everything's in there. If not, feel free to, send us comments and we'll revise it. The other thing I think will be useful with this is I'm going to use this as my, plan as well. But if I get input from the Sustainability Advisory Committee on what they see as the priorities, then that will help me focus in on some things when I have, time to work on these things. So it's not an exhaustive list. If you have anything else, please take your time, review it, and add anything you'd like. We'd love to hear your comments on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie and Dave. I didn't have that much time at all to go through it, so I need some time to obviously go through the documents that were posted earlier.
We weren't looking for comments tonight. Okay. I thought we would just present it. And just so you had a copy, of it, with you now, and then take your time, review it, and email us the comments if you have it, or at the next meeting we can follow up and discuss it further, and maybe start to whittle down some of the priorities and some of the tasks you'd like to work on. And then once we know that, we can drill down further, because some of these are general, pretty broad tasks, and we can develop a specific work plan underneath each one. But we want to hear what the priorities of the committee is before doing that.
Okay, so I'm just trying to think how best to. So if you share these documents,
can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I think since everybody on the committee, and this actually is for both Chetna and Nico, I want to make sure we're staying within the rules. Since we all have copies of those documents that they forwarded today, I'd love that we could, put a pretty tight deadline on going through them and coming back to you, Chetna, with our comments directly. And as long as we don't copy everybody else, if we make our comments directly to Chetna on our suggestions, and you can then kind of sort through those and come back to Julie and Dave with that, because I would love to find ourselves rolling into the July meeting with a pretty refined list, a pretty refined set of recommendations from that, and because we've taken the time to work through it in between. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'd be happy. I mean, that's fine the way you propose that. I'd be happy to be the recipient of those and sort them out. And I can, I will keep Chetna informed of that as the chair. So that might be easier. I don't know if you want to take it on, Chetna, and you want to get it all and sort it and pass it on to us, but we could do it as well. So however you wanted to work it, I would offer that assistance if needed.
Yeah, and I would as well. If you wanted to copy Dave and I in your comments, just doing like track changes and comments in a Word document, which you all received today, we could compile all those comments and put them together. Dave and I could work on that. So,
and the advantage of that too is that everybody individually sends it to Dave and Julie. Dave and Julie can send an email to the entire committee, and that would not be in violation. If Chetna were to do it, then you're deliberating and you're going in the wrong direction. So I would certainly say to send them individually to Dave and Julie. You could CC Chetna, but then Dave and Julie would be the ones coming back with the revisions.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
And I guess also add to that. Well, we haven't gone there yet. I guess another idea too is to, when you submit comments, if you're going to do track changes on the Word documents that we sent you, is to come up with your list of what your priorities are that you'd like to work on. So maybe everyone selects 10 items, and maybe you even and each one is designated with a letter and a number. Like I think public outreach is PO, and each one is like PO1, PO2, PO whatever. I mean, you can see it in the document. To list each of the priority activities that you would think the committee should work on, and also designate whether it's a short term, like in the next 1 or 2 years, it's a medium term, which would be like 2 to 5, and then long term, which would be like a bigger project. So Dave and I can resend the documents and maybe with some instructions on how to respond to us and what we're asking of you. So I think prioritizing those items and really kind of honing in on what you want to work on in the next 1 to 2 years would be helpful. And we can work with committee members I think Chris had some great ideas about communications and outreach. And so maybe if somebody wants to take on a certain activity and like kind of spearhead the activity, that would be great. That we could work directly with a committee member to form a work plan and develop, some strategies to achieve it. That would be super helpful. So if you want to like take on an activity and say, yeah, I want to spearhead this one because that's something of interest to me, then you can do that. So you had a question about timing as far as getting back. So when is your next meeting? Is it
the first Tuesday of July?
So is that
July,
sorry,
it's July 7th. July 7th.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean,
it's after July. Okay.
I think, the comments are just going to be compiled and then we'll get them out. I'd like to get them out a week before the committee meeting.
Yeah.
So if we gave a deadline of June 26th, that would give us, 3 weeks for review and comment. I think that's plenty. We don't even have to go that far, but I think that would work for the next meeting. So, we don't have to go earlier because we don't meet until July 7th. But Julie and I will send out an email to that effect.
Great.
I think I would actually advocate for having it be more like the 22nd or the 23rd because it just takes us some time to put stuff together. You and I both have other meetings to go to and, things to do. So,
yeah. Okay.
A little bit more would be helpful for us to be able to do that.
All right. I'll do that. So we'll go, early that week. The 22nd or 23rd would be 3 weeks from today. And then that would give us a week to put something together to get you out a week ahead of time.
A full week, yeah.
I just want to add that we did, and we've thrown this comment out before in terms of at some point forming like a subcommittee or a working group of people from this advisory group to specifically deal with, work with both you, Dave, and Julie on the tasks. So again, I would welcome the committee members' views on this, and also whether they'd be willing or wanting, desire to be part of a working group.
Yeah, that would be great. That's a great comment, Chetna. I think that sometimes it's easier to work in a smaller group just because it's more fluid and you can get together more often and everything. But I just wanted to just pause for a moment and ask the committee, how do you feel about the strategy? Are you comfortable with it? I mean, no, it's kind of all very new and we're talking about this for the first time, but if you have any comments, please send them to Dave and me if you think that we need to realign or reorganize or do something differently with the committee. We're certainly able to do that.
I think it sounds.
I think this is great, Chris. Here, I think this is great. I mean, we'll give it a go. It's worth giving it a try. So, and I'm really looking forward to dig into the documents.
Okay. Hey, one other thing I wanted to kind of bring up, and it's just sort of a kind of an offshoot, I guess, of communications, and that is you as a committee, do you want to come up with a logo or something, like a logo, something you could use for your communications on Facebook or, if you're on Twitter or any written material or anything you promote? Do you want to come up with a logo at all? Because we have a designer now on staff who's communications and does design work and stuff. And we could, if you want to come up with a logo, we could certainly help you work on that.
Is anyone else using a sustainability logo? Have you run across any sustainability logos?
Everyone has a logo. I could send you some. I can do some research.
Any logo, but one that signifies sustainability for any other.
Well, I'm thinking like somehow have an E in it, a letter E, and then something that deals with. But yes, most sustainability organizations have a logo. It's just something I'm going to throw out there. If you're interested in having us actually work on it, we could throw a little time at it, and because it really helps to brand your messaging going forward in your communications if you have a logo. It's just sort of the way things work now, right? Everyone's got a logo. But
hey, I would volunteer to work with your designers on creating a logo. That's sort of my wheelhouse. And I do design, so I would love to have a logo.
Okay. Well, yeah. If the committee feels like that.
I have one that I use for Riverwoods. All the emails that go out to everybody who has an email address from the Environment Sustainability Committee are called e-alerts.
Oh, great.
Capital E-alerts. So that's one possibility for you.
Perfect. Great, Nina. Well, contact me. I think you have my email. I was copied on the email that Dave sent around today. Let me know what you want to work, if you have any thoughts or anything, we can work on that. And I would not be surprised if Jen Piskovitz, who used to be a member of this committee, who has taken some time off, wouldn't mind maybe volunteering some time to help with that. So.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I it's one of those things that recommended in the thing. And whoever works on that, I have a couple of primitive. I'm no artist, but I already took a couple of primitive shots at it, and I came up with sustainable Exeter, ready, resilient, and a little, so I don't know if that's a good idea, bad idea. I'll leave it up to the designers, but I have that to share too. So whoever starts working on that, I can share that rudimentary, like first grade artwork that I produced.
Well, I'll throw out a couple of examples. I know that the Coastal Adaptation Work Group actually came up with a new logo a couple of years ago, and I think, oh gosh, I'm embarrassed to say I can't remember exactly. It's ready, resilient, something else, and I can't remember what it is.
And I didn't steal that, so if that's someone else,
I know you did.
Wow.
Anyway,
you're ahead of the game, Dave. You're ahead of the game.
So, bottom line is what we like to do, and I think in the next 6 months is for you to identify what your priorities are, what you want to work on, and come up with some work plans and some protocols and some what we call standard operating procedures, SOPs, which is like a big stormwater term, of how you actually do things. Like, what's the process for posting stuff online and getting things, in front of social media. So getting stuff on paper so that everyone knows, and, and committee members change hands and people come and go, and just having it, written down on a piece of paper sometimes helps the committee actually to be able to move forward, faster. So is Robin still on the committee?
No, she's
Robin Tyne. Oh, she's not. Oh, that's too bad. One thing I did want to throw out there, because Robin was such a powerhouse in getting the film festival. Was it last year or the year before?
It was last year.
I don't remember. Last year. There is an opportunity for the York Land Trust and actually puts on a sustainability festival, and they offer to share their licenses for some of their films that are available to them. So there's an opportunity to maybe have to create sort of an online sort of thing, place where people can come and log in and just watch these films and maybe, push that forward. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there as like a possibility for maybe the fall, maybe like a September, October sort of time frame.
Okay, so if there's nothing else, I will just reiterate that we will wait to hear from Dave and Julie in terms of how to get the comments over to them, so that we can then prioritize the tasks that we'll be doing as a committee, and then people can then volunteer to be part of the working group or so on. So is there anything else to add to that at the moment?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
But we also just welcome you to email us with any thoughts and comments that you have individually, just me and Dave, just if you have any thoughts. Like, Deb, you had a couple of great ideas, and if you have anything you want to add, just shoot it our way, and we'll incorporate it into our product for the July meeting.
Okay. All right. Any other business? Anybody?
Yes.
Yes, Beth.
I have something that I wanted to report on, and I just think we should be aware of it. Maybe the town, maybe Dave would know whether the town is already aware of it. Last week I heard a presentation by Robert Rosine of UNH. He's their wastewater management director, and he's got a company of his own, and he's active in other capacities in solving wastewater problems. What he presents is new problems require new solutions in Great Bay. And he is, I don't know whether he's working with all the towns, but the 12 New Hampshire towns and the 4 Maine towns, which contribute to the problems of Great Bay, there is a 20-year program which he is advocating or working with them on. 20-year, it's affordable in the terms of that each year something would be done, but it wouldn't necessarily be a huge expense. For one example would be that one of the big problems is fall leaves getting into the Great Bay through the wastewater system, and they contribute a lot of nitrogen. So something to be done during the 3 fall months or whenever to get those leaves out of the drain system, something like that, would be an example of one of the things that could be done. Of course, to set up to preserve a wetland, or to encourage developers to set up a wetland on their property might be another sort of thing that could be done. He did, by the way, compliment Exeter, Newmarket, and Portsmouth on their new wastewater plants, which he said are making a great contribution, but the problem is not solved. And I don't need to with you the need to keep Great Bay from dying, as we say. So I called attention in an email I sent to Chetna to the online version of this plan, which is found on the Seacoast Online website, and it's called Guest View. I don't know why, but Guest View : New Problems Require New Solutions in Great Bay. And if you Google for this, you can go online and read. Some of you, maybe Dave, maybe the town's already discussing this. I don't know, but I just thought it's something that we should be part of our parameter. We should be aware of it. And the River Committee, I sent a copy to Terry Harmon, calling her attention to it on the River Committee, because certainly this is their bailiwick. And maybe that's something for the new Facebook page.
Thank you, Bev. Okay. Any other comments, anyone?
I guess just add on to Beverly's comment. So Rob Rosine is he used to work at the Stormwater Center. Was he the director of the Stormwater Center at one point?
He is
New Hampshire. He now has.
Still is, I believe.
No, he actually has his own company now.
And he has his own company.
He's not the director of the Stormwater Center anymore. He actually has his own consulting firm called Waterstone Engineering out of Stratham, New Hampshire. Yes. And he actually I believe he still sits on the planning board for the town of Stratham. And so all of this, what he's talking about, I think in Bevan, the article is about stormwater management and runoff.
Right.
So, yeah. Just to clarify,
Well, but actually, he does mention some other things that are part of this plan that he's presenting, including the one that I mentioned about preserving wetlands, or that isn't stormwater exactly. I guess it is. Whatever you want to call it. Anyway.
Any other comments? So do we have agenda items for next meeting, 7th of July? So we will have all our comments reported back by Dave and Julie with the documents amended.
Yeah,
beyond.
I agree. I would. Yep, I'd support that. Yep.
And we'll have an update on the communication, social media situation in terms of just getting updates from some of the other committees. And in the meantime, we can find information to post on there anyway.
Yes, for sure.
And keep that ball rolling and keep the information flowing, for sure. Any other business or comments?
I have a question, if I may.
Okay. Sure.
Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties I had logging on this evening. Did I miss the action item? I think I came in on the Sustainability Youth Fellowship. Did you go through the action item, which was number 3?
Yeah, we did, and we voted that in.
Voted what in?
For approving that job description as per our action from last meeting.
Okay. For the purpose of?
For the purpose of the fact that we didn't complete after changes were made when the job description was presented to the select board, and there were some grammatical changes, and we did not sort of officially accept those. And from the sustainability advocacy group that commented last month in our meeting, they wanted us to take that action and make sure that it just didn't sort of filter away that we had as a committee approved of that job description for the sustainability coordinator.
Okay. But just to be clear, for now, for this budget year, we've assigned Dave to be the sustainability officer. We've been through that. That was kind of after the BRC. So if you've accepted a job description, which I guess you did tonight, that's great. The town though the town has never, I guess, added a classification plan without first getting funding for the position. So even though, as a committee, you've approved that is a job description for the future, it would still have to go through that process again, through the budget again, through the select board, through town meeting. And then once it's approved, then the town can add that classification code. But just because a committee approves a job description, the town just can't adopt that classification code without first having the funding. So I just want to make sure that's clear, or at least I've explained that.
Yeah, I think it was understandable. I think from my understanding, when the job description was presented to the select board, they didn't vote on that, and the members at the time on the select board did not have, as the template and as it stood, didn't have that many amendments to it, apart from grammatical amendments. So just to close that circle in terms of us as a committee having worked on that job description, just to say that we did as a committee approve that.
No, I'm just understood. I just wanted to make sure I got that right, and then also explain the process for the future. But that's great. Thank you for explaining.
Okay.
John, I had a question, actually, a follow-up on Nico's question.
Yeah, sure.
Does the Sustainability Advisory Committee intend to put forward the proposal for the Sustainability Office again this year in the fall?
It's not something that we have talked about. I think it's. I think that's probably a conversation for the committee to discuss.
Okay, just asking.
And may I, just to recap, I just want to confirm what the next agenda items are. I heard comments on the draft documents that I gave today, the needs assessment and the completed actions done by the town. Identify, I'm throwing this, maybe have a discussion about identifying priority tasks. Committee updates. This could be a standing agenda item, committee updates. And do you have any energy meets tomorrow, kind of like the select board and other communities do. So we'll do a committee updates and a communication outreach update on the Facebook page, and a continuation of what Chris Sigmont said today. Does that sound right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Chris, feel free to, I wouldn't mind talking soon to you about that, offline, and maybe you seem motivated. Maybe I can help it, any way I can and help move it along, but I wouldn't mind have a conversation about the Facebook page and how I assist.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I will.
Yeah, let's talk in the next week or two. Then that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So if no one has anything else, I will adjourn the meeting. It's 8:20. Everyone okay? Yep.